I'm Cindy Rice. I'm originally from Hawaii. I was in the private sector first, management, and then I decided to go into education. Many of us have done that after first or second careers. I was at Kahuku High School, which was 7th through 12th grade. And then, I don't know, insanity, something like that, decided to move to Vegas 10 years ago. I was at Hewitson Elementary for 5 years, K through 5th grade, and then I took time off to be with my own two sons, who were in junior high at the time. That lasted about 4 months. And then Silverado High School opened up, and it was just meant to be. So I've been at Silverado High School the last 5 years. So K through 12th grade. I am a couple things. I have a husband of 21 or 2 years, 2 sons. One graduated from this high school and is back in Hawaii. I have a junior, Luke, at Liberty. I have a horse, 2 dogs, and a cat. I always say if you want to practice your classroom management, practice on your animals. If cats or dogs. Fish don't really work, but rabbits, cats, dogs, horses work great. I'm into extreme sports. If you're in here in August, you might have seen my picture in the paper riding my horse Rosie. But I also paddle Hawaiian outrigger canoe at Lake Las Vegas. I surf as often as possible. And I love flying ultralights. An ultralight, which is nothing more than a hang glider wing, a go-kart, like just bars, and an engine in the back, and a seat belt. That's all you have to hold you in. And you take off, and I just got 100 hours in the air, so I can become an instructor if I want. So extreme sports are my thing. And also behavior management. So what we're going to talk about for the next hour.
Extreme sport.
Extreme sport. Exactly. All those things, we've talked about procedures. Now, what to do when you've tried all the procedures and it's not working. First of all, what's a challenging student? What is a challenging student? Unmotivated. Disruptive.
Students that don't do what you want them to do.
Students that don't do what we want them to do. What's that?
Non-conforming.
Non-conforming.
Disrespectful.
Refuses to accept the procedures.
Problem with authority.
Problem with authority.
Disrespectful.
Okay, good. Did you notice I didn't ask you to raise your hands? And then everybody started to? Why? What did I do? Bingo. They don't listen to what we say. I'm sorry, no, it's true. It's what we do. Right? Don't waste your time talking. Okay, you're going to remember my tone of voice, my stories, that kind of thing. What I do, not what I say. Okay? All of those things. Well, guess what? There's no such thing as a challenging student. There's no such thing, and I use the word difficult sometimes too, but they said, oh, no, switch to challenging. But they're difficult also, right? No such thing. No such thing as a challenging student. No such thing as a challenging neighbor. No such thing as a challenging driver who was in front of you on the freeway going 10 miles an hour. No such thing as a challenging spouse, child, relative. There's even no such thing as a challenging mother-in-law. It took me a couple years to figure that out. Okay? Because you know what? If we have a problem with someone, it's not their problem, it's ours. It's ours. It's all the way you look at things. It's amazing. But we will focus on that quote-unquote, yes, challenging student. Again, it's challenging because of, you know, for us. But really, they're not a challenge at all. Okay, first thing, number 1 in the classroom, we have to get their attention, right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry. You can see when they walk in the door, you can tell if they're in emotional mode, this part of the brain, right? You can tell if they're happy, giggly, sad, ready to punch a hole in the wall, right? You don't have to ask them. It's written right on their face, right? If they are in emotional mode, can we teach them? No. I don't care what you have to say. They won't listen. So our first secret, number 1, is get them into cognitive mode. When we get them here, we can teach them. So the first secret is getting their attention. And they've talked to you already about procedures and things like that. All the secret is, you know, when you have the work on the board, that type of thing, the sponge activity, all of that is what are we doing? We're getting them from here to here. Okay, get their attention. Okay, another technique, Tom Jackson used activities that teach. In other words, get across the curriculum, but what? You want to get it across in a way that gets their attention. Okay, has anybody heard about Brain Gym? Anybody done that? I did it 15 years ago, forgot about it. And remembered last year. It's like, how come I haven't done this? Okay, Brain Gym. Number one, if your students are less productive, let's say like after lunch, okay? A lot of times we'll depend on one or the other side of the brain. So what you want to do is get both sides active. Okay, first thing, hydrate. Most of our students do not have enough water in their system. When you don't have enough water, guess which suffers first? The brain. Okay. The next thing is you want to do activities, and I do it K through 12th grade, that crosses midline. When you cross midline or center line, when you deal with students or people with traumatic brain injuries, you have them practice that because it forces both sides of the brain to work. For example, everybody stand up. I know there's not much room in here, but stand up. Okay. If you can't see me, then watch your neighbor because they can see me and what I'm doing. First thing, simple, just take your hand, pat the opposite shoulder, switch. Okay, you are crossing midline, so both sides of your brain must be working, believe it or not, to do it. Okay, again, something as simple as just take your hand and stretch over. Nice stretch. And stretch this way, it's after lunch. Okay? All right, another one is you just take the palm of your hand, all you're going to do is tap the opposite knee. Okay, and then switch. See, tap the opposite knee. Now those of you that worked at the gym this week, we know who you are. You can do the elbow thing. Okay? But just tap. Again, both sides are working. Okay? We won't do it here, but another one is to the opposite foot. But there's not enough room here. But opposite foot. Okay? Oh, some of you are doing it. Okay. And let's try this one. Everybody stand straight. Take one foot. You're going to cross it in front of the other. Okay? Now you're going to take your hands and put them in front of you, palms facing. Now have your palms face outwards. Grab your hand. Twist in. Look at a finger and then try to move it. Try another one. Easier said than done, right? Okay, untwist, untwist, and have a seat. Okay. Again, the first thing we want to do is get their attention, right? We've got their attention, we can teach them. Okay, a few other concepts. Also, I have 3 numbers up there. Can someone tell me about those 3 numbers?
They're all odd.
They're all odd numbers.
Sorry.
Oh, except for 38. Okay, good observation. They add up to 100, so what must they be? If they add up to 100, what must those be? Percentages, right? Right, percentages. Again, a simple question like that, we get them in what? Cognitive mode. Okay? This is about communication. 55%, and those of you that are kinesthetic like me, the notes are in here. You can just fill in all the answers on the second page?
Yeah.
Third page? Okay? Especially if you're kinesthetic, you want to fill in the answers. Because these answers are secrets, so when you fill it in, then you know the secret. 55% of all communication is nonverbal. again, you don't hear what I say. That's okay. 38% of all communication is paralanguage. Not even what we say, but how we say it. If I'm talking quietly, or if I'm talking loudly, if I'm talking quickly and trying to get the idea across to you and you're not even hearing exactly what I'm saying, you're not getting it, but you know. Or if I'm talking slowly. So paralanguage, not even what we say. And the other 7% is, guess what? Verbal. What did they teach us to do? To teach, what do? Talk. If we talk, we have 7% of our students' attention. 7%. So that's why, if you notice, the speaker this morning teaches a lot of what I teach, because your procedures need to be all non-verbally. They don't pay attention to what you say anyways. This is the power. They have to. They have to follow us non-verbally. They just have to. It's part of our genes. Okay? Save your voice for the curriculum. It's funny, I put up these numbers. One time a teacher goes, well, you know, this is how many we wish we have in the class, how many we're supposed to, and how many we end up having in class. Yes. And then another time a teacher looked down and said, well, Cindy, are those your measurements? No, I wish. No. Okay? But again, use what works. Okay? In your classroom, I have had teachers that they just go nonverbal with everything. They have all their, you know, point to things on the wall, point to things on the board, the nod, yes, no, all of those, and they will have the best day ever. They will literally come back and say, I have had the best day teaching in 20 years. We are our own worst enemy. We get in our way. We're the problem. When we can remove ourselves, guess what? It just works. Right? Which is more productive, if I do this or this? Right? The slower your movements, the more productive your room. The faster your movements and your paralanguage, the higher the energy. So I love working with adults because what? I'm ADHD. So I do what? High energy. Adults need that. Right? Again, if you want to, you slow down your movements when you want high productivity in your students. When you want high energy, the productivity goes down, okay? But you speed up your movements, higher energy. So you dictate day to day how your classroom behaves by you, by your movements. Because again, they pay attention to this, not this. Okay, a few other concepts to have fun with about those quote unquote difficult, challenging students is we have, Michael Grinder talks about dogs and cats. And in our classroom, we have dogs and we have cats. In fact, Monday, you will be laughing to yourself because Monday you'll be looking at your classroom and going, oh, dog, 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 uh-oh, cat, 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 dog, dog, cat, cat, dog. Okay? Dogs look something like this. Can I borrow that chair a minute? Oh, sure. I will borrow it a few times. Dogs look something like this. Right? Yeah. Dogs are just a gift to teach us. Right? Yes. I mean, they look at us like we are a god. I mean, we can do no wrong. I mean, they just look at it, it's like, oh, yes. And it's funny, you can have a dog in 2nd grade, and by 7th grade, they're no longer a dog. Right? Dogs are great. Again, they are a gift to us. Now, dogs tend to be visual learners, which works perfect for the classroom Because what do we want them to do? Sit down and be quiet. So dogs do great in a school setting, right? Okay, you have to understand, dogs, though, have a need to fulfill. See, with dogs, it's important that they get it right. They are not secure until they know they've got the right answer. Right? It's very vital. You'll see a dog, once they get, oh, it's like, okay, I understand. Okay, I got it. Okay? Okay? Dogs are wonderful, but we've all done it. There's nothing worse, because a dog wants to make sure they get it right. So they will ask you 10 million questions, right? And they will bug you and bug you and bug you until the moment when you look at them and you go, you know, I can't talk to you about this right now. Or I can't answer you right now. And what happens to that dog? What happens to that thirst for learning? Where does it go? Right down the drain. Because they have just done the one thing they don't want to do. They've disappointed the teacher. Right? So dogs are a great asset, but we need to use them. We need to have a win-win. Okay? So a few things. Number one with dogs, you must write everything on the board. Go nonverbal. This is their security blanket. Okay? Because they will ask you questions over and over again. Not because they didn't hear you, but they want to get it right. So you say, okay, you know, do page 22. And they'll be like, oh, page 22? You want me to do page 22? Do you want, no, you said 1 through 10. There's 15 questions. Do you want to see 1 through 10? Or do I get extra credit for 11 through 15? Right? Dogs will ask you a million questions because they want to get it right. They are not secure. So with dogs, you put everything on the board. That's their security blanket. The next thing is put them in charge. I always teach the leadership model. Oh my goodness. When you put them in charge of something, number one, you know they're going to do it right. You don't have to worry about it. And number two, it's a win-win. You fulfilled their need. They're like, oh, okay, I'm in charge of passing out the papers. Because you put me in charge. You fulfilled their need. Okay? So with dogs, they have all that energy. It's very important that you, again, put everything on the board and put them in charge of something. Because it will save you time and it will fulfill their need. That makes sense?
Dogs with limited literacy can't read that well. Suggestions?
That's okay, still put them in charge. And the more symbols, like you said this morning, the more nonverbals, visuals you go with, the better. The better. Again, because they focus in on the nonverbals. Words are irrelevant. Let me show you, we also have cats. Cats in the classroom look something like this. What? What are we supposed to do again? Right? How many of you have a few cats? Okay.
I don't have a classroom, I have a cat room.
Cats, as we all know, those of you that have cats at home, we know cats rule the world. As far as they're concerned, we are there just to serve them. Okay, it's the same in the classroom. As far as cats are concerned, there is nothing we could possibly say that they don't already know. Right? You'll teach them, oh, I know that already. Yeah, but you have an F. Oh, yeah, but I know it. Right? Cats. Okay? Cats are often very intelligent. Okay? And because of that, they don't go by the rules. Again, they figure they rule the world. Okay? So when you have cats in the classroom, there's a few things you want to do also, again, to make it a win-win. Okay? First of all, cats, they tend to be auditory, okay, and kinesthetic. But they cannot see us or hear us. Okay? Again, remember, as far as they're concerned, we don't exist. We are not important. All right? So cats, a few things you want to do. Number one, They always have to have the last word. Let them. Let them. If they have to have the last word, that's fine. Again, whenever you have an issue, guess what you do? Just go nonverbal. No one knows how to argue nonverbally. Let them have the last word. The other thing with cats, they're the opposite from dogs. Dogs, once they know it, that's their security. Okay, cats, once they get it, they're bored. Right? So cats, you have to keep them always in cognitive mode. You use the leadership model that way. If they look at you like you're crazy, that's a good thing. Because they're like, what's she going to do next? What's he going to do next? So with a cat, you say it differently. Again, a dog always wants that praise, so right? So I might go with the dog. They're like, would I do that with a cat? If I do that with a cat, they're like, yeah, right. No, cats, you want to keep them in cognitive mode. So with a dog, I'm like, oh, great. With a cat, I would be like, you know, somewhere in that worksheet I made a mistake. You know, as you're doing it, let me know if you find it. And then walk away. Always walk away. Don't try to have the last word. Just say, be assertive. Say what you have to say and go. Now, is that cat going to be doing that whole worksheet to figure out where I messed up? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Again, it's the way you word it. You can have a cat be just as productive as a dog. It's just I'm going to word it differently with the dog than with the cat. Now, be honest here. How many of you are dogs in here? Come on. Dogs, raise your hand right away. Yeah. Okay, watch. How many of you are cats? See, cats are like, How many of you think you're half and half? I'm half and half.
So you can have a child that's both.
Yeah, I'm half and half, depending on the situation. Yeah. So again, the big thing is when you're dealing with that quote-unquote challenging student where nothing seems to work, you have to focus on what need are they trying to fulfill. Because you have to understand they just have inappropriate coping strategies. They're trying to cope with life just like us. I mean, we're the same. It's just they haven't figured out by punching someone in the stomach, they won't like you. So they do the same things over and over again, expecting different results, which we know is insanity. Right? So what we do is change their inappropriate coping strategies to appropriate ones. It's win for them, win for us. It keeps our sanity.
Sometimes you feel this is a battle parents have too. That if I continue it, am I losing control or not over the child that I'm allowed to have the last word? Am I going to lose?
At the second you try to have the last word, you've lost. Because the second I react, you have to understand, when I react to someone else, I have just lost control. They can do whatever they want, but as long as I look and choose to act, I am in complete control of myself and everyone else. It's my choice. And you know what? I can be the best counselor in the world. And I can walk into my own house and go, you did what? And why? Because it's personal. So what am I doing? Reacting. The second you react, you lose control. No matter what they do, okay, you're jumping on the desk, good. Okay? If I react to it emotionally, I've lost. Right? If I choose to look and go, well, okay, they're jumping on the desk. What do I need to do? Then I'm in complete control. That makes sense? Good, good. Okay. What I want you to do right now is think. You have the opportunity to, hang on just a minute. I forgot I did this. What you're going to do is you are going to think of all the wonderful, how many of you are first year teachers? Okay, how many of you are experienced teachers? Okay, all of you, you're going to think of all the wonderful inappropriate behaviors you've had to deal with in your career.
You have paper paper.
Even
Yesterday.
okay. So the leaders, the front row, you're going to be the leaders. This is what you're going to do. You're going to write down, Okay, the inappropriate behaviors you've had to deal with in your career in education.
Ms. Rice,
Uh-huh.
can we ask a quick question before you?
Sure.
She wanted to know we want to know, how do you react without reacting?
Right, like, isn't
Yeah.
because
I'll teach you that.
Okay. Please.
Actually, I have 2 professional development classes, so I'm going to put 30 hours worth in 1 hour. Watch what you're getting the best of. Okay. Let me do this. Works like magic. You could have 500 people in here and they will be quiet like that. Again, it's all not what you do, but how you do it. It's not what you say, but how you say it. You don't go this way, you don't go this way. You have that angle going, and you want to feel like you're pressing down on air. And it makes people sit down and be quiet. Now, I've had teachers go, you know what, Cindy, I tried it. Again, it's not what we do, but how we do it. And they said, well, I have a hard time, Cindy. What, I want to laugh. If I want to laugh, will it work? Will it work? No. Again, we have to be 100% committed. You have to understand, they read our mind before we speak. When we speak, it's irrelevant. They read our mind.
What if they're not looking, if they're engaged in an activity?
It works. It's kind of like the teacher look. You could be across the cafeteria and do the teacher stare, and it's like laser beams drilling into their back, and they will turn around to see who's looking at them. But again, I have to be what? 100% committed and calm. The second I'm emotional, I've just messed myself up. Again, emotion is not your friend, right? Just like if I'm passive, oh, come on, please. Is that gonna work? If I'm aggressive, oh, come on, you guys, just do it now. Is that gonna work? That actually makes it worse, right? But if I'm assertive, assertiveness means you have no emotion and you just act like it's already been done. Students will get up and move seats when you ask them to because you're not asking them, you're just acting like they've already done it. Okay, just move from there to there. It's in your mind. Your mind actually controls your classroom. Okay, let's see what we have here. Ooh, we've got some good ones. Okay, talking out of turn, not following directions, not following instructions, breaking classroom rules, not listening, doesn't do what you ask, touching girls' butts, good one, flooding bathrooms, talking, blurting, likes to flirt with all the girls, constantly tries to have personal conversations, throwing tables and chairs, good one, throwing insults, cussing, punching, loud, disruptive behavior, liar, lazy, disrespectful, saying that I'm annoying, saying that we're annoying, good one, talking during instruction, making fun of other students, throwing objects, sassing teacher, talking back. Okay, cussing, talking, won't stay in chair, refuses to do work. I had a student once that could, ADHD, could do somersaults in the chair, and he didn't fall out. Okay, cussing, talking, cheating, inappropriate conversations, off task, sleeping, complaining, throwing self on floor, good one, tilting back chair, yelling shut up to class, talking while teacher gives lecture, throwing art supplies, kicking chairs, throwing scissors at another student, ooh, daydreaming, pouting, excessive talk, pushing, kicking, crawling around the room. It's good. I had one that could really crawl around the table. Okay, throwing paper, arguing with teacher. Let's see if we have any. Harassing other students, pushing. We've got pretty well We've got a nice variety.
Well-behaved children.
Again, those are not inappropriate behaviors. Those are inappropriate coping strategies. They're trying to cope with life and it's not working. Healthy coping strategies make your life better. Unhealthy strategies make your life worse. That's all they're doing. Doing things that make their life worse. We're the same thing. We're creatures of habits. Sometimes we do the same coping behavior, makes your life worse, and we still do it. Because we're a creature of habit. We're just going to switch the habit to a win-win with our students. I forgot to mention also learning styles. Okay, that's important to know too for your students because they all learn in different ways. We teach the way we like to learn best. We try to do all three, right? Auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Okay, but I never mentioned the pencil tappers. I guess that's a big thing for people. So you have to understand. Again, it's fulfilling a need. You have different types of pencil tappers. So I'm going to handle it differently depending on what need they're fulfilling. Now in learning styles, you have two types of pencil tappers that are doing it purely for their learning style, the way they learn. You have the ones that tap in rhythm, right? You know, and the rap things going on and all that kind of stuff, okay? They are auditory learners. Okay, they're auditory learners. So they are tapping because it's in rhythm. They are tapping to hear it. So a lot of times, like resource room classes, if they still have where you listen, you can listen to tapes and stuff. That works for special ed students in resource classes. Those of you that play like the light classical music in the background, that works for your auditory learners. Okay, you're fulfilling the need. Now, very few pencil tappers are auditory. Most of them tap out of rhythm, right? They're just what? Tapping. Okay? They are kinesthetic. So why are they tapping? Because that's how they learn. They have no idea they're making noise and irritating the heck out of us. Okay? They are kinesthetic. So you replace it. Let them tap. They have to move to learn. You can tell the kinesthetic ones in this room. Because you're tapping your toe, you're moving around. You're writing, right? Kinesthetic learners write, take notes, because that's how they learn. Okay? So with those, replace it. Let them tap on a sponge. Let them tap on their pant leg. I have a substitute teacher that she buys felt, and she has little squares of felt. And whenever she goes to sub at a class, she sees her pencil tappers right away. She gives them the felt. All they do is do that. That tactile feeling fulfills their need for learning. So no more problem, no more pencil tapping, no more moving around. It's kind of like the old-fashioned worry stone, right? Some people are looking like, what are you talking about? I'm telling my age here now. The young ones are like, what's a worry stone? Okay? Again, you're going to do the behavior, you're going to take care of see what their need is, and when you figure out what their need is, then you do, a different action. Okay, for challenging students, difficult students that don't exist, but the ones we will remember for life, the ones you have this year, you will remember their first name, their last name, you will remember everything about them. You will see them 30 years from now and you will remember them. You might not remember the straight A student, right? You might not remember certain other students, but that difficult, challenging student, you never forget. Okay, so the first thing again, you want to see what their need is. And I take this and I expand upon it, but it's a good way to start. It's divided up, Lee Cantor does this, dividing it up into 3 different areas. So your first area you have okay, the first area we have of behavior that we wrote down and yes, you have that in your packet so you can write the answers. Okay, the first area category we can look at is the attention getter. Right, we know that. Ooh, can I pass on the meeting equipment? Oh, reasonable, oh, please, Right? Right, whether it's positive or negative. Because we have the ones that are negative attention getters. Right? Positive or negative, it doesn't matter. They have the same need. What is their need? Attention. Attention. They will do anything for attention. They are the easiest to manage because they will walk over hot coals for attention. I don't care what it is. Right? They have that need to fulfill. They need attention. Okay? So, what do we do for them? Give it to them. When?
When appropriate.
When appropriate. Right? We give them attention. Now, we could actually give them positive or negative attention, but to give negative attention isn't a good thing, right? That doesn't help their self-esteem any. Right? So we give positive. Positive attention. Right? When they're doing appropriate behavior. Right? When, and of course elementary, we make a big deal. Oh, all right. Right? Secondary, good job. Right? Different for different ages, but they still have the same need. So when they're doing inappropriate behavior, what do we do?
Ignore.
Ignore it. Which is easier said than done. Especially with their own children. Hallelujah. Okay. See, the problem is we don't know what ignore means. Okay? If I have a pencil tapper that's doing it for attention, not learning style, okay, and I'm ignoring them. Am I ignoring them?
No.
No, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. That bugs me. Okay? So again, we have to understand what ignore means.
Well, but if you're ignoring them, but they're sitting with us, getting annoyed, distracted by it.
Okay? And again, they will feed off of you. You understand?
Go around their mouth?
Yeah. Well, actually, they are waiting for your reaction. Now, let me show you here, because it'll answer a few questions that I can see popping up. Number one, when we ignore the behavior, what happens to the behavior?
It increases.
It gets worse. It gets worse. That's a good thing. We need to know that. Because again, it's not working. It doesn't work. It gets worse. Right? It gets worse because what was inappropriate before that got our attention is no longer working. Now we want to know it gets worse for our sanity. In my mind, I'm going, oh, listen, it's getting worse. Good job. Keep going. Because again, you can tell them non-verbally what? It's not bugging me. I'm ignoring it. Okay? Because as parents, we are famous. I am famous for, right, my son saying, no, I'll say, no, you can't have it. No. And then I give in. There's just that point right here. You give in, say, okay. What have I just reinforced? The inappropriate behavior. What happens is it gets worse, but the second that they realize, no matter what they do, you're ignoring the behavior, it extinguishes it for good. Now let me explain what that means, because people don't understand what it means. Okay, instinctively sometimes we can do it, but what exactly are we doing it? To ignore is to accept and move on. To ignore is to show no emotion. If a kid throws a chair across the room, do I have to address that? Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay? But by addressing it verbally, I can still be completely ignoring it. Because the secret is no emotion. When I am just assertive and matter of fact, I am ignoring the behavior. I'm giving no attention to it. The second I show emotion, I am feeding attention. So So it's not what you say, but how you say it determines whether you are showing emotion, reinforcing it, or ignoring it. For example, or you know what, it's the second one, sorry. I'll use that charitably. Had this student, third grader. She threw up. What happens when you throw up at school? Where do you go?
Nurse.
Where do you go? Nurse and where? Home. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. I don't care if you're kindergarten or 12th grade. You get sick at school, everybody's like, go home. Right? Get out of here. Okay, she would get sick, especially on Mondays. Mom had Mondays off. Okay? So it wasn't medical. All right? Remember, the secret is to accept and move on. Right? So I worked it out with the nurse, the principal, the parent, the teacher, myself. We're all on the same page. Okay, so should they have it down? I tell you that anorexic, bulimic, they have it down. All grade levels, ages, I've seen it. Okay, so she got sick in the nurse's office. Do I ignore it? No, but I did emotionally. Accept and move on. That's okay, right? Leadership model. Let's clean it up. Okay, let's go. Went down the hallway. She threw up again. That's okay. Clean it up. Down the hallway again. Okay, all the way down the hallway. Her class was the last classroom in the third grade hall. It was a long hallway. Okay, all the way even to the door. Last ditch effort, right? Okay, that's okay. That's all right. Let's clean it up. We walk in the classroom. She has a seat, and I say this. I say, you know what? It's okay. It's all right if you feel sick. There's a trash can. It's okay. And I walk out. She never threw up again. Okay? That wasn't only changing an inappropriate coping strategy, but it was saving her life. She was skin and bones at third grade. She would not have lived through junior high. What was it? An inappropriate coping strategy. Did I address it? Yes, but I ignored it. No emotion. If I had said, oh, you poor thing, what would I be doing? Fulfilling the need, right? So again, you can ignore it by the way you say it. So by the way you say it, you can completely control your attention getters. You choose when you give emotion and when you do not. And they will feed off of it.
You know, I'm real good at that, except this year I'm stymied by one kid, and I usually do this, and I do it very well, but this one kid has got me buffaloed. She absolutely doesn't like anybody or anything, and if her hand is up, it's, he hit me, she doesn't like me.
Might be something different. Look at these other ones, and you'll have the solution by the end. Okay, the next group. Okay, we know this next group. Right? Testing. Right? What happens? You look them straight in the eye and you say, don't cross that line. I crossed the line. What are you going to do about it? Say cross the line. Look. You cross the line. Look. Your testing limit students will find out in the first 10 minutes what your pet peeves are. And they will do them. Okay? They will find out right away. They are expert manipulators. Expert. Okay, you're testing limits. All they want to do is create an argument, right? They want to keep you so busy. That's their coping strategy for life. Okay, but what is their need? What need are they trying to fulfill? Why are they doing it? Control. We think control, but it's actually the opposite. What do they need? Boundaries, limits. They are begging for limits. Now, most students, you can even ask my son here, they will naturally find out test limits because they want to know where your limit is. Right? Everyone does that. Human nature, right now. Right? When is Sydney going to let us out? Testing limit. Guess what? You're staying till the time. Okay. You know, kind of thing. Okay, but it's this kind of thing. They're saying, Don't tell me what to do. Please tell me what to do. You can't boss me around. Please boss me around. You can't stop me. Please stop me. I'm a runaway train. I've manipulated my family, every teacher I've ever had. Please, someone stop me. Don't play my games. They are begging for limits. Actually, these students, guess what career they go into?
Law enforcement.
Not teaching, law enforcement, military. They don't want this wishy-washy gray business. They want it cut and dry. If you're at PT at 5 a.m. in the morning, you were there at 5 a.m. They go into careers that are very structured, and they're very successful in them. Okay? So again, they want limits. They want limits. First thing, because they know that verbal battle, right? First thing you go with the testing limits is do what? Go nonverbal. Don't talk. The second you talk, guess what? You've just got into it with them. Right? No one knows how to argue nonverbally. Who said you have to answer? It's like you said this morning. I say it all the time. Who says you have to answer all the time? You don't have to. Right? Go nonverbal. The other thing is they create this. So what you want to do is take yourself out of the equation. Okay? What do? Give them what? Rather than they making it's your choice or theirs, what do you create with them? You make them make what? Choices. Choices. Right? Take yourself out of the equation. Let them battle themselves, because then you get them in cognitive mode. Right?
Okay, we got a question here.
Yeah.
So you give them a choice and they don't take either one.
Because you know what? You create what choice they make. Okay, I'll show you a couple examples of that now. Fourth grader. She is emotionally challenged, emotionally disturbed, whatever you want to call it. Okay? You know in elementary how it's separated, right? So you can stand on the desk. Right. Right? Okay? Top of her lungs. She's like, screaming at the top of her lungs. Smart fourth grade teacher can't remove the student, so who does she remove?
The desk?
The class. Right? The desk is calling. Okay? Smart teacher. She knew, hey, she's from the Philippines too, good friend of mine. She knew, you can't remove, whenever you can't remove the situation, she removed the classroom. So all the fourth graders were lined up in the hallway. Perfect. Okay? Assistant principal comes in, right? He's a man. Is he about to grab this fourth grade girl and physically take her down off the table? No. He calls me on the walkie-talkie. Cindy, go grab this girl and get her off the table. But again, I know what works. That doesn't work. You use what works. So I looked up at her and I said this. I gave a choice. Listen, I said, you know what? You have a choice. You can get down off the desk, we'll walk down the hallway, we'll go in the office and we'll handle whatever disciplinary action there is. Or you're going to get right down off that desk, we're going to walk down that hallway and we're going to walk in the office and you're going to handle whatever disciplinary action there is. But I'll tell you what, why don't you just get down off the desk, we'll walk down the hallway, we'll walk in the office and we'll handle whatever disciplinary action there is. How many choices did I give her? One. Paralanguage, how many did I give her? 3. Which one did she choose?
The last one.
The last one. They will choose the choice of least resistance. It's not what you say, but how you say it. It's hilarious. I do it all the time. Same choice. So here she's an emotional, right? Ah, immediately. The whole way down. I mean, not a word. She walked down to the office, she sat down, she had her disciplinary action, not a word. Because she went immediately from here to where? Here. When we're upset, including ourselves, whenever we're angry, The reason being, it's just the excuse to express the emotion. If you were late here and trying to find the place and someone cut you off in traffic, you got upset at the person cutting you off in traffic. That was irrelevant. That was your excuse to express the emotion. You were already stressed because you didn't know where you were going. And it's a Saturday morning and you're trying to get here. Right? That person there was your excuse. So when the emotions are expressed in your classroom, that's the excuse to express the emotion. You have to understand what students do have nothing to do with you. Don't take it personally. It has nothing to do with you. Our problem is we are our own worst enemy. We take it personal, and guess what? Now our emotion goes in and we ruin it. Right? Let it go. Okay? So again, choices. When you do choices, it takes you out of the equation. Now they're in cognitive. They have to make the choice. Now they will read our mind. They will choose the choice I show emotion. So if I'm not comfortable with the choice, you can do your work now or in detention. Oh, I'll do it in detention. Right? I have to be perfectly calm. Then paralanguage, I can dictate the choice. They have to follow the choice of least resistance by the tone of my voice. Plus, I put what I want in both choices. I do it all the time. Oh, you know what? You have a choice. You can do your work here or you can do your work there. Where do you want to do your work? Oh, there. Okay. What if they had just agreed to do their work? I do it all the time. You put what you want in both choices because now they're battling with themselves. They're in control. I'm out of the equation. They're setting their own limit, making their own decision. So works like it should. Then you have the last group. Okay, the third group. The third group are unmotivated, are quiet. They don't say anything. They want you to just go away, leave them alone. They are not a behavior problem, not like, our attention getters are just testing limits, are keeping us so busy, right? They don't keep us busy, but oftentimes they concern us the most. Why? They're not saying anything. Because what is our job as a teacher, as an educator? To do what? To reach everyone, to motivate. So even though they are the least destructive, sometimes they bother us the most because we feel the most like a failure with them. But they're no problem. Now our unmotivated, we have a few different kinds. Right? We have the kind, the different varieties, right? I don't have a chair here, but it's, like, you say, where's your homework? In my backpack. Hey, get it out. Okay. They can move so slowly, and they're looking around, and 20 minutes later, they're like, I can't find it. Right? They work so slowly because they know that you have other behavior problems to go to. They want you to go away. You have two types of unmotivated. You have the ones that have perfect attendance, perfect, and 0% work. Right? They're boundary. They're there physically, but not mentally. Then you have the ones, okay, pretend there's a chair there. See it? They're right there. They're chronically tardy, chronically absent, right? Oh, I didn't know how to do that assignment. I was absent yesterday, right? You have the ones that are physically there and ones that aren't even physically there. Now, your unmotivated tend to be perfectionists. They want to get it so perfect. They stress out so much that they don't even try. Because to try, I might mess up. They think things differently. We think, if I don't try, I've already failed. They think opposite. They think, if I don't try, I don't fail. Okay, so we have to switch their thinking. Okay, so they're unmotivated. On the surface, they want us to go away. But what is their real need? What do they need? To be perfect. Not to be perfect. Motivation. They've given up on themselves, whether they're kindergartners or 12th graders. They have given up on themselves. They are begging for motivation.
What about the child who is unmotivated but will raise their hand every time there's a question asked and then they'll say, never mind, or I forgot?
Okay. Again, different need. They're not really unmotivated. You've got something else going on there. So again, it's pinpointing. Again, have fun with it. Don't take it personally. Their behavior has nothing to do with you. It's their coping strategy. So think, you know what? What's their need? What's going on? What strategy am I going to use? Have fun with it. Have fun with it. It's a win-win then. But yeah, you're unmotivated. They want motivation. Now they're just like us. Look at you guys right now. I mean, you're like, oh my goodness, it's Saturday afternoon and I have this and this and this to do. And right now you feel like in your job right now you have about this much work. Oh, how am I going to get all this paperwork done and all this and all my lesson plans and all, right? Are you unmotivated? Sure. Am I? Yeah. So what do you have to do? Just like with them, you break it down into small parts, small enough so you can cope. You have to do that in your job, and that's what you do with your unmotivated. Okay, because they look at 5 pages of reading and it looks like 1,000 to them. So you break it down into small parts. So small that they look at you like you're crazy. If they look at you like you're crazy, that's a good thing. Just like your cats, keep them in cognitive mode. You know, where it's so small that they can't resist, they can't say no. And the other thing is, who says you have to take no for an answer? You don't have to take no. Right? The secret with them is to act as if they're already doing it. We create our reality. What we think is what happens. So you create it. You act as if they're doing it and they just do it. Now you don't want to say, oh, good job, do you realize how successful you are? Because if you do that, what happens to your unmotivated? They get what? Scared. I know failure, I don't know success. So you have them do it without them even realizing what they're doing. Because the minute you say, do you realize how successful you are, they get scared and they do what? Shut down.
So don't praise?
Yeah, you can do an assertive praise, but not be emotional big deal. Because yeah, you want to act as if they've always been doing it, they always will do it. For example, had this PE teacher, 80 kids in the classroom, right? On the field. One kid wouldn't even join the group. That's a safety issue, right? 80 students, this one's antisocial. He was a wreck. I said, do you have a clipboard? She said, yeah, leadership model. I said, put him in charge. Plus the clipboard is his, what? Security blanket. He's antisocial. You can't just have him join the group. Give him something. Right? I told her to say this. Say, you know what? I need your help. I need you to hold the clipboard and do the points while I'm organizing the game. And she said, well, Cindy, what if he says no? I said, so why do you have to take no for an answer? Remember, accept and move on. Okay, that's all right. Just for a minute. Okay, that's all right. Just for a second. Here, come here. Here's the clipboard. Here you go. You act as if they're already doing it, and they do. And then I said to tell him this. I said, tell him
Attention
this.
teachers, on your way out this afternoon, please stop by the office area to check to see if you won a door prize. And again, thank you for coming, and have a good rest of the weekend. Bye-bye.
Okay, for them, you do this also. I told her to say this. Say, you know what? I know how you like to participate. Okay, he hasn't participated once in 6 months. I know how you like to participate. So if you want me to take over the job and you play the game, that's okay. You have just what planted in their mind that what? They already participate. Hey, 6 months. This kid would not join the group. 6 months. 2 PE classes that week. She comes to me Saturday and she goes, you know what, Cindy? He's not only joined the group, he's playing the games. Again, you create it. You create it and they follow along. It's like lemmings. Okay? But again, it has to come from you first. You first, you actually create it. And then another strategy, the gym face strategy with those students that you just can't help it, but you just can't stand them. They just like rub you the wrong way. They could be straight A students and they just bother you. Well, the real truth is because you see in them something you hate that's in yourself. That's the real thing. You see in them something you dislike that's in you. And a lot of us don't want to go there. That's just like just too much. But it's the truth. But this is what you do with them. See, the problem is they know that you can't stand them. And they know that they can't stand you. And so whatever you try, if you try to be positive, oh, good job, they know it's fake. Right? You need to be genuine. They know when you're not genuine. So you do the Jim Fay thing. You do the one-sentence intervention. Come up with 6 boring facts. Boring observations. 6 of them. Okay? As simple as, oh, I see you're wearing a blue shirt today. Oh, I noticed you have second lunch. But you have art after math. I see you have white tennis shoes. Boring facts. 6 of them. And you can repeat them after the first 6. Okay. Have them all day long in elementary, same a few in the morning, a few in the afternoon. If I'm in secondary, I see them once a, one period a day, a couple one day, one another. And it's amazing because what we're doing is we're not letting our emotions get in the way. We're in the way of the relationship. By me just saying a fact, no, oh, that's cute. No emotion. Because again, just a straight fact, without meaning to, we're building a relationship. Now, our emotions are out of the way. We're building a relationship. So I do that for 2 weeks, and I could go to that same student that we haven't seen eye to eye. I can go to the same one and say, you know what? Finish that up, just for me. And they'll do it. They'll do it because I built a relationship. I got myself out of the way. So again, when you have that student you're just having trouble with, go to straight facts, assertiveness. Get your emotion out. And then you'll succeed. It's amazing. It's amazing. Well, a couple things we have to do. I just tried to put the best of 30 hours worth. I teach 2 PDEs on nonverbal communication and leadership. And it's so fun. It's so fun because now challenges, guess what? They're no longer challenges. Because you start to have fun with it. And pretty soon you'll find out, guess what? I have no more difficult students.